kids, welcome to another episode of Sunday School to Go. I'm Pastor Katie Yons from St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Verona, New York. So welcome and thanks for tuning in. We have been hearing stories about Jesus for January, for February, and we will for March and April too. But our story for the next part of February is actually the story about Jesus feeding 5,000 people. And this is Jesus does a bunch of really amazing things, a bunch of miracles, and this is one of the ones that's very well known. So you might know this story, but it's one of those stories that it's good to hear over and over again. I will read it to you today from the Spark Story Bible, which is published by Spark House. And here we go. Jesus feeds 5,000. It was a beautiful sunny day as Jesus and his disciples crossed the Sea of Galilee in a boat with white sails. Jesus had been healing sick people, and many more people of all ages came to see him again that day. Maybe they could hear more of Jesus' stories or see him show God's power through another miracle. When Jesus saw the large crowd of men, women, and children, he asked his friend Philip, "How are we going to get enough food to feed all of these people?" Philip answered, "I could work for 6 months and not earn enough money to buy food for all of these men, women, and children." Oh, what are they going to do? The disciples didn't know what to do. Just then, Andrew pointed to a young child and said, "Here is a boy who has 5 small loaves of bread and 2 fish. It is something, but it certainly isn't enough food for all of these people." The boy looked very nervous as he said in a small voice, "Jesus, please take my food if you think it will help." Jesus took the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish that the boy offered and asked his friends to have the crowd sit down. About 5,000 people sat in the grassy meadow by the lake that day. After Jesus gave thanks to God, he blessed the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish. Then he shared the food with all of the people who were there that day. All 5,000 people ate until they were full. Wow. Then Jesus said, "Now let's gather up the leftovers." And do you know what? There were enough leftover pieces of bread to fill 12 large baskets. More loaves and fishes left over than the boy had given to Jesus. The disciples shook their heads in disbelief as they struggled to pick up their baskets, heavy with food. The people saw the full baskets of leftovers and began to understand that something extraordinary had just happened. Another miracle. Jesus smiled as he heard people say, "God must have sent Jesus to us." It was a day the boy, the disciples, and all of the people would never forget. And then it has a little question here. It says, if you were the boy who gave Jesus his food that day, what would you tell people about what had happened? It's a pretty good question. I don't know what I would have told them. I don't know. It'd be tempting to say, "Yep, yeah, it was all me," but obviously people would know, and hopefully people would believe. So it's a pretty great story though, isn't it? All right, now I believe you have a craft in your activity bag that was dropped off at your house, a craft that goes with this story. So feel free to get it out. You should be able to tell which one it is, about Jesus feeding 5,000 people. And feel free to put that together. I think it might be a wall hanging that shows a picture of what it might have looked like when this happened. And so go ahead, put it together, have fun with it, and put it together the way that you think it might have looked. And while you're doing that, you can think about the story and think about what it would have felt like. Maybe what it would have felt like to be a disciple that day, or what it would have felt like to be that little boy, or what it would have felt like to be one of the people there. Not sure what you were going to do, where you were going to find something to eat, and then all of a sudden, there was food, bread and fish. So, lots of fun stuff to think about in this story. It's a great story. So, thank you for participating. Thank you for doing the craft and for tuning in for this story. And we will see you next time in our next episode of Sunday School to Go. Bye, everybody.